So let me close out of Internet Explorer, return to Dreamweaver, and let's create a new page. And this time, I want you to create it from template using the Robins-CSS site that we just loaded in and the main template that I've already created and designed in this site. We'll explore how to create templates like this to save layouts, but for now, since we already created the header and footer for this page in the last lesson, I figured we could use a little head start on this one. So here you see a page very much like the design we created in the last lesson. We've got the navigation elements that were done as a list item already formatted to be side by side and to have this display. And we have in the middle of the page here a div called main. If you're wondering why this little circle with a line through it is appearing, that's because I'm using templates. And using templates in this way, we won't be able to change anything in the header or the footer. That's okay for this design because we're only going to change the content in the middle of the page, where I've highlighted content for ID main goes here. That's where we're going to create the design to have two columns side by side. Before we do, let's go ahead and save this page. We'll save it in the Berry folder, and I'm going to call this index-mine. Yes, this is the one I created. So you can call it whatever you like, but if you want to help distinguish it as yours, I recommend you leave the index.html page. Don't overwrite that one. We'll explore how to create templates to save layout elements like this in part 2. But for now, let's start by adding two divs into this main div area to serve as the two columns for our layout. We can delete the content for ID main goes here. And I'm going to, again, split the screen so that I make sure I see what's going on behind the scenes here. Add a new div, and I'm going to call the first one Story. And then I'm going to create a second div right underneath that one. I'm going to call it Sidebar. In both cases, I'm making these ID styles because I'm only going to use them once per page. And I'm using them to define major content areas on the page. So now I have a place for my story and I have a place for my sidebar. It's a very common convention when you're laying out pages with content. I've got some text for the story and the sidebar that I've saved for you in this folder. If I close up the CSS panel, you'll find it in the Files panel as Text to Copy.